The anatomy of integrity. Distinguished judges, honorable committee, respected lecturers, and my fellow future healthcare professionals. My name is Neza Saffanah from Universitas Muslim Indonesia. Today, I want to begin with a paradox. Healthcare has never been more advanced than it is today. Artificial intelligence can identify disease within seconds. Robotic systems perform procedures with extraordinary precision. Yet, the WHO Global Patient Safety Report 2024 estimates that 1 in 10 patients experiences harm while receiving healthcare, contributing to over 3 million preventable deaths every year. How can both realities exist at once? How can medicine become increasingly sophisticated while preventable harm continues to persist? I searched the answer in technology, then in science, then in clinical skills. But the more I learned, the more I realized the answer isn't what medicine can do, but how we choose to practice it. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine entering the world's most advanced hospital. Every monitor is working, every instrument has been sterilized, every protocol has been followed, and every healthcare professional is highly trained. Yet, somewhere inside, a patient still experiences preventable harm, not because technology failed, but because somewhere between one decision and the next, something invisible was lost. Fellow future physicians, we spend years studying anatomy. The heart sustains circulations, the lungs exchange oxygen, the kidney maintains balance. Different organs, different functions. Yet, life depends on their harmony. And perhaps integrity works the same way. It is not merely a moral ideal, it is a functional system. And if one part fails, the consequences spread quietly until someone else pays the price. So today, I invite you to look at healthcare through a different kind of anatomy. Let's look at the anatomy behind every safe clinical decision. And every anatomy begins with the heart. Fellow future physicians, the heart doesn't decide where oxygen goes. It ensures every cell receives what it needs. Clinical practice depends on a different circulation, not of blood, but of information. Every diagnosis begins with a patient's story, which shapes the exam, which determines investigations, which guide treatment. Long before medicine treats, it must first understand. That is why honesty isn't merely moral. It is a clinical competence. The WHO named improving diagnosis for patient safety in 2024 thumb because diagnostic error caused an estimated 16% of preventable harm worldwide, often before a diagnosis is even made, because information is incomplete, misunderstood, or poorly documented. A UK primary care review found more than 1/3 of diagnostic errors led to moderate to severe avoidable harm. This is how harm spreads: an omitted symptom, an inaccurate note, and an assumption, widely becoming a treatment plan. That is why honesty means protecting the quality of information before it becomes someone else's judgment. It begins here. In medical schools, every time we resist inventing findings, every time you say, I don't know yet, instead of pretending certainty, patients don't just place symptoms in our hands. They place trust in our search for truth. And that is the work of the heart. Distinguished judges, if honesty protects the truth, accountability protects what we do with it. The backbone, strength, is invisible until it fails. Integrity needs the same support. Knowing the truth is never enough. The real question is, what happens after? In the 1990s, psychologist James Reason's Swiss chess model showed that serious harm rarely comes from one careless person. It happens when multiple weaknesses align to slip through every layer of defense. A 2023 BMJ Open Quality Review found hospitals with strong safety cultures shared one trait. They treated mistakes as opportunity to improve system, not evidence of failure. Why? Because fear changes behavior. When professionals fear punishment, they report less, ask for help less, and admit uncertainty less. The system grows quieter, but not safer. Blame ask, who should be punished? Accountability ask, what must we learn? For us, that begins now. Every time we invite feedback instead of defending pride, admit a mistake before it's discovered, and choose curiosity over ego. Integrity isn't measured by how rarely we fail. It's measured by what we do after. And that is the work of the backbone. Ladies and gentlemen, truth guides, accountability strengthens. But neither matters if the patient no longer feels seen. The hands are where medicine becomes visible. That's why compassion is not sentiment. It is a clinical skill. Dr. Victor Montori of the Mayo Clinic argues, healthcare goals isn't just longer life, but helping care fit the life patients already have. So instead of asking, what is the best treatment? We ask, what is the best treatment for these patients? A 2024 review in patient education and counseling and a JAMA network open meta-analysis of over 88,000 patients both found shared decision making improves understanding, adherence, and confidence in care. People follow a treatment they understand, help decide, and that respect their life. Compassion doesn't compete with science. It allows science to succeed. It begins every time we listen before responding, stay curious instead of assuming, because our patient may forget the medications we prescribe, but they will never forget how safe they felt to ask another question. And that is the work of the hands. Distinguished judges, we have explored the heart, the backbone, the hands, yet none was ever the destination. They were preparing us for something they couldn't create alone. Trust. Trust is not a virtue. It is a consequence. What patients give us after witnessing our honesty, accountability, and compassion. Not before, but after. In the age of artificial intelligence, which can now detect abnormalities and can predict risk within seconds, what remains uniquely human about medicine? Dr. Eric Topol in Deep Medicine argues AI shouldn't replace the human side of care. It should restore it by giving clinicians less time with screen and more time with patients. A 2024 Lancet Digital Review agreed safe AI implementations still depends on human judgment, ethic, and accountability. AI may help us reach an answer, but it cannot decide if that answer is right for the person in front of us. No algorithm understands a patient's fear, values, and family. Those decisions belongs to us, and so does the responsibility. Trust cannot be demanded or programmed. It is earned one truthful conversation, one responsible decision, and one compassionate act at a time. And perhaps that is the anatomy of integrity. My fellow future physicians, I once believed the answer to preventable harm lay in better technology. But this journey led me elsewhere. Harm persists not because medicine stopped advancing, but whenever integrity fails to advance alongside it. A heart protects truth, a backbone that turns mistakes into learning, hands that keep science human. No single virtue sustains professionalism alone. Only together do they create what every patient hopes to find. Trust. One day, the question that matters most won't appear on an exam. It will be asked quietly. The moment a patient looks into our eyes and wonders, am I safe with you? No algorithm can answer that. No technology can answer that. Only our character can. The greatest breakthrough in healthcare has never been technology. It has always been trust, built every time we choose truth over convenience, responsibility over blame, and compassion over indifference. Because knowledge can save lives, technology can transform healthcare, but only integrity gives another human being the confidence to place their life in our hands. Technology evolves, integrity endures. Thank you.